Sweet.
Okay. Hello again.
Awesome. Okay. Let's bring up these. Okay. Come on. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. If it will let me. Oh, I don't know if it will let me on this one. But I have both of the things open, both of the Word documents.
Okay.
So the one you sent me, is that just from your side?
Yeah, well, I mean, we wrote them together, but we wanted to both send it to you just in case one of us missed something or.
Yeah, because
so hers might look a little.
I can't tell which one. Okay. Okay, so what she sent me was your guys' negotiation and then what your final contract was. That's what it looks like.
Okay.
So I guess just a couple questions on just to kind of make sure I understand what's going on. So it says that you agreed to keep wages at current levels. Why did you guys want to do that?
Well, mostly we did it because the wages are already a pretty good level. We decided to agree to that because I think they were some of the higher wages for the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And then also we decided to go with the incentive, which was also part of the reason.
Yeah.
Just the incentive based on the profitability of the company that year. So that was kind of just our compromise.
Awesome. So with the wages at the current rate, as well as an annual bonus, that seemed fair to you guys on both ends.
I felt like it. Yeah, I think we did. Yeah.
Awesome. Or at least makes it worth it to keep wages the same instead of raising wages. You get a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I think it still makes the employees feel appreciated,
right?
Even if the company wants to hold off on raising wages. So
awesome. So that is cool. Just gonna copy and paste what you wrote, so that it's all on the same page. Cool. I think I'm just going to submit all of this to him anyways, even though it's because the leadership assignment's pretty easy. It's just I'm supposed to basically just proofread the final contract anyways and submit it. Like that would have been my leadership assignment. And seeing how you guys basically, we all did that already, or you guys put both of your sides together already, that I'll just submit it with the link anyways. But cool. So another thing, so in the negotiation, you guys, for your incentive pay, you want to, it was eliminated before, is that correct?
yeah, it was eliminated in the 1978 meeting, but they verbally promised to
bring it back,
reinstate it at the new company after they kind of knew what the production levels would be and stuff. But they haven't done that yet. So
awesome. So just skimming through. So with the layoff and hiring procedures, they wanted to retain full management over the hiring and firing process. And you guys decided, or I guess in the negotiation, it was no more than 50% of rehires, and eliminated the 52-week layoff notice requirement. That way you could have a grace period. That makes a little bit more sense than before.
Yeah.
Cool. So what were some things that you wanted before that did not happen, if any, that did not happen in the negotiated contract?
Well, I mean, ideally, we would have also liked a wage raise and I know it talked a lot about workplace rules in there. I think they wanted more control than what we compromised on. I think they wanted to not have the supervisor looking over their shoulder and, be able to set those work rules. But we kind of agreed that, with these machines and the new, basically the new machinery, there did need to be a little bit more supervision than before.
Yeah.
But
which is fine, yeah, which makes sense.
But we're giving them a say, and then layoffs. I'm trying to remember. I think we just wanted a say in it, but I think this covers that. I mean, we do offer some protection. I'm sure they would have liked even more protection.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about this assignment is you were pretending that you were a worker. Fowler Jean was pretending that she was management. So the point of an HR representative is if you feel like you're not okay with your compensation, you're not okay with the benefits that you have, you don't feel like you're being paid enough, and you feel like your boss isn't listening to you or management isn't listening to you, HR is there to basically be the mediator. So you would call a meeting, you would talk to HR, and you would say, I don't feel like I'm okay with my compensation. Can we put together some sort of mediation? And I don't know if it's required, but I know that normally managers will, decide, okay, well, let's have a mediation. And in the very least, even if they're not willing to give you a raise, they hear you out and they explain to you, okay, here's company funding, here's where we're at in our budget, and we just can't afford to give you a raise right now or whatever it is. So that's what I feel like the point of this assignment is HR is there to help you as the worker and management feel like there's a common ground that you guys can get to. So
yeah, and to just understand each other's point of view. Yeah.
So having said that, do you feel like this was an accurate? I know it was kind of rushed and we have just the three of us, so it was kind of hard, especially because I wasn't able to be there the first time. Do you feel like in a real negotiation, do you feel like with this knowledge you would be able to go into that and have a little bit more of an understanding than you did before about this process?
I would say yes. It was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, it's hard to make it more realistic because, I mean, before, if we had like a group of 10, 5 of you or 4 of you would be on one side, 5 would be on the other, and then I would be like the HR representative if I was the leader.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it would be a 4-on-4 discussion. And if you looked at the instructions, it was like, okay, one group meets and the other group has a different meeting. And then like after 15, 20 minutes, we come together into a group meeting and they negotiated their side, management negotiated their side, and then I would bring you guys together and negotiate 4-on-5 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it could have been a lot cooler. And I understand the process. Like, unfortunately, we don't have a big group, so it could have been a lot more convincing, I guess, and more realistic if we had something like that. But it was a cool idea, I thought. In reading the instructions, I was like, yeah, that would have been super fun if we had a bigger group. But for this, like, it's just a cool way to understand, like, okay, well, if you wanted a raise, you wouldn't just go to your boss. I mean, you could, but you wouldn't want to just go to your boss and say, hey, I want a raise. And he would say, well, why do you think you deserve a raise? And you basically just say, I've just been working here a long time. I feel like I deserve a raise. So that's not going to really get you anywhere. Whereas this is like you sent to me, I thought that was a really good way of setting it up. You said, higher wages, here's what we want, here's why we want it. Here's my responsibilities. You could also add in there, like, here's my responsibilities. Here's where I've gone above and beyond in the last 6 months or the last year or whatever it is. And you bring this to your boss, or in this mediation meeting or whatever with the HR, you would say, here's what I've been doing. Here's why I deserve to get paid more. And if it's realistic for the most part, and the company is, that has the budget to do that, for the most part, they are more willing to give you a raise if they can see your argument, like see your point of view. And so that's why this assignment was kind of cool to me, just because I've never done that personally. I've just gotten raises just because they said, oh, they'll have like a performance review and they'll say, yeah, you've worked here for a year. We think you deserve a raise. What do you think about $1 raise? And I'd be like, okay, cool. And I've never really gone to a boss and said, okay, I think I deserve this much money. I feel like, I mean, obviously I haven't had a career job where I'm making salary, so it's a little bit different. But I've never had to go to a boss and say, hey, I'm making 34,000 a year. I deserve to be making 38 or 40. Here's why. You know, I've never had to do that. So this was kind of a cool assignment.
Yeah, I've asked for a raise before. It was really awkward. I hate doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's uncomfortable, but at the same time, it's like if you don't feel like you can go to your boss and ask for a raise when you feel like you deserve it, then that's,
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to want to work there, because if you feel like, okay, this is kind of grueling. For the most part, the reason you ask for a raise is because you don't want to do the work you're doing. You feel like you're working harder than you're getting paid for. Is for the most part is why you go ask for a raise. And so it's awkward because you feel like, okay, obviously they don't see what I see. Otherwise they would have just given me a raise already. So you have to like take that awkward step and say, okay, I need a raise and you guys haven't given me a raise, and I do all this extra work and you still haven't given me a raise. And so, yeah, it's definitely awkward.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. He was a nice guy. It was okay. But it's just
yeah,
funny.
I did that.
Funny.
I've done that once before. I worked at Subway, so it wasn't anything like insanely high up or anything like that. But I had worked there for a year and a half, and their managers were required to work like 6 a.m. to noon and then come back and help with closing. It was like a weird setup where it's like,
really?
Yeah. Yeah. So it was like you were required to do all these things every day. And it was like, okay, that doesn't fit my schedule. So I could never really be a manager just because of the way my schedule is laid out. And so I was like, well, that's a bummer because that's really the only way I see getting a raise. But then I just talked to the franchise owner because she was in all the time. So there's like our managers, our supervisors, and then above them was like the franchise owner. So she came in and she pulled me aside, and I had been having issues with the manager because the manager, I was asking for more responsibility so that I could also like get paid more or justify actually asking for a raise. And so the manager pulled me aside and she said, so I heard you've been having issues. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't had any issues. I've just been asking for more responsibility. And she was like, oh, yeah, well, you seem like a really hard worker. And to be honest, we've had issues with this manager before. And I was like, yeah, I would love to be a manager so I could get a raise. But the problem is it just doesn't fit my schedule. I could never be able to do that. And she said, well, tell you what, I'll just make a new position. I'll make you closing manager since you close almost every night anyways, and you can just be the closing manager. And so I did that and she gave me a raise. And so I was like, okay, awesome. Like, it's an awkward conversation, but like if you were at like some place where you're making salary and there's a human resources department, that eliminates a little bit more of the awkwardness. Yeah, it's still an awkward meeting because you have to basically put it together, because you're the one who has to say, okay, I feel like I need a mediation meeting so that I can get paid more. It's still kind of awkward, but at least you're not talking directly to the boss like, hey, give me more money. And so the human resources is on your side, trying to make things better for both the management and the employees. And so with this assignment, you get to see kind of a little taste of that, where it's like, okay, in a major company, they were required, okay, you know, they were going to start like basically going to start a union. And so they're like, okay, unions are bad because one, it looks bad on the company. And two, like there's all these laws that protect unions and union rights and force companies to basically give into their demands and things like that. So it's like you see where that's kind of coming into play. And then you see kind of like a mock representation of what, because you guys read the negotiation, right, on both sides.
Yes.
So you got to see kind of like what it would have been like anyways. Like you got to see, okay, so they're starting to form a union. Here's how a negotiation for a union or whatever would take place. And there's all these demands, and some are met, some are not. So like you said, you wanted to higher pay and then possibly an incentive. You only got the incentive and you got to keep the current wages you had. So it's like you didn't get everything you wanted, but you got enough to where you thought, okay, yeah, I can sign this contract. So
yeah.
So I just thought it was cool. I read through both sides just because I thought I was going to have time to meet, but with my exam and everything. My sister-in-law is also moving, so I was back and forth between Rexburg and Idaho Falls all day helping them move, so I wasn't able to jump on at any time.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you have any questions or anything about this assignment? I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but
no, I don't think so. Except, was there like a conclusion that we were supposed to read too? Like,
I might be next week where it actually tells you what happened, but I didn't see anything like that for this week. I just saw the kind of the guidelines beforehand, like their argument, and then I saw the negotiation side. But I mean, we all saw that.
Oh, okay. I think I see what I was looking at here. There's a step 4 in the discussion prep for both leaders, but it says we can read it on our own.
Oh.
Okay. Debrief and end notes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Figured it out.
Cool. But I appreciate you guys meeting and getting that done so that I could take my exam.
Yeah, no problem. It's just been a busy, weird week, I think, for everyone. I was all day yesterday doing stuff, and
yeah, I'm taking biochemistry, so that's kicking my butt, and that was the exam I went and took. But I got an 88, so
yay, good job.
That's good for me, so I'm fine with that. But awesome. So I think that's about it. I don't know, is there anything else I'm missing?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think we're just supposed to talk about. Yeah, I think that's it. Awesome. Thanks, Christy, for updating me on everything and sending me those notes. It's awesome.
No problem. Have a good week.
You too. See ya.
Okay, see ya.